Hi everybody, Rebecca's here and we're going to sew the first row of blocks into a row, okay? I'm at 701 subscribers and 98% of my viewers are not subscribed, it tells me on the analytics. So if y'all would subscribe, I would really appreciate it. Trying to get to 1,000 so that I can get monetized, and we're up to 650 hours of watch time in the last 365 days. I have to get to 3,000 hours. So if you could like and subscribe and watch all the way to the end, I'd really appreciate it. Thank you. All right. Now we're going to put these squares that we made into the first row and then sew the first row onto the rest of the quilt top that I've already completed. So what you're going to do is you're going to put right sides together like this, and then we're going to make sure our seams are nested on the side. Pull it back and look. Are we happy with the way that this looks? Yes, we are. So we will put a pin, just one pin, right here. And I got a new 1/4 of an inch foot. Thank you. From Natalie from my sewing guild because mine broke. See, look. So it was right before all the snow, and I'm so thankful because I think I would have gone crazy in the house and being sick, and for those 7 days with not being able to sew 1/4 of an inch. So thank goodness for quilt guilds and friends, huh? Alright, so like I said, we're going to do 1/4 of an inch all the way down. Okay, this is the rest of the rows of the quilt top. I always do this where it's like row 2 and then row 3, right? I always put the pins. Here's our first block, our first row, okay? So we sewed it together. Now we're going to sew it onto. So we're going to line up every single one of these seams, okay? And then we're going to sew it with 1/4 of an inch. Okay. Alright, so we got the whole quilt top done now. And let me show you the whole quilt. Well, we're going to put a border on. Alright, so here's what we've got. Okay. It took 2 white and 2 of the colored 5-inch squares of 42 each. Made this. Okay. And it ended up being 48.5 by 57.5. Okay. But I'm going to put a border on it. Okay, so that's what we're going to do now. Okay, I'm going to try to explain this one more time. Okay, so this is our quilt here. Okay, and I want to know, can I use up this purple scrap that I have that's 35 by 44 inches to make a 4.5 inch border around. Okay, so for my quilt is 49.5 by 57.5. Okay, so but what you have to remember is you have to, once you add these 2 borders on the side, this top border here is then going to be 58.5 inches. Okay, so if you double 58.5, right, for the top, you get 117 inches of border. And if you double 57.5, right, you get 115 inches of border. So if you add that together, right, you get 232 inches total of border. Plus I add 5 inches for the joins that you're going to have to do, right, to get a long enough piece to go all the way around, right? So, knowing that you need to have at least 232 inches, right, at 4.5 inches wide, can you use this scrap of fabric to make your border or not, right? So 6 cuts, right, of 44 inches, 6 times 44, right, is 264 inches, right, which is enough to make it, right? But 4.5 inches by 6 cuts is 27 inches wide, right? But we have 35 inches wide. So yes, as long as we don't mess up cutting them or whatever, we should be able to cut enough 4.5 inch border out of the purple scrap I want to use, okay, to make this border. I hope that's helpful on how to figure out if you can use a scrap that you have, or how to use yardage to figure out if you can have enough to make your border. Okay, so we're going to cut 6 4.5 inch. Okay, so the first thing we need to, so here's my 4.5 inch right there. Okay, so I'm going to clean it up and get a straight edge, right? And then we're going to lay it down on our 4.5 inch line. Line it up along the bottom and the side, and we'll cut 6 of these, okay? Okay, so this doesn't have a right sides, but you would put right sides together when you're doing this, okay? Alright, so we're gonna sew this onto the sides first. I usually like to leave just a little bit hanging over for me to trim it square. Well, the supervisor is here. Am I doing a good job, huh? Supervisor is here to make sure we're doing a good job. Is you my baby? Are you my baby, Pearl? Is you my baby? Yeah. Checking it out? Yeah? You giving it your stamp of approval? come back and clean that up. Alright guys, well, here it is, all pieced with the border on, okay? So, next time we will quilt it and make our quilt sandwich and then quilt it